All right, Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all the praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High and His only begotten Son. Call Halayim La Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach. All right, double honors to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Why? Double honors unto the apostles, others, a great millstone who root and teach well. Why Barakatham, unto the hopeful elect. All right, now today through the Spirit, I'm going to go into a video entitled Our Law Promotes Charity. You see, our law, and by that I mean when you go into, ultimately, even when you go into the law in the Old Testament, or that we received on the tablets, there's laws on being charitable. Why? When you read the Apocrypha, which are the hidden books, it's basically the end of the Old Testament that they took out because it goes into that time period of the Greek captivity, what the Grecians were doing. And that's how you had the Greeks and the Gentiles, the Hellenized Israelite foreigners, which they were applied to as Gentiles in the New Testament, a majority of them. You see that history, they took that out. They tried to take that out of the original Bible after the 1600s, right? But you see, all these things, they promote charity. Even when you go into the New Testament, a lot of writings of Paul and Corinthians, you see, Peter, our forefathers, they really were big on charity. And who did they learn that from? Yahweh Shai taught them. You see, because Yahweh Shai was all about charity. And, that's our law. And that's why I want to get this lesson, our law, slip of the tongue. Our law promotes charity. You see, brotherly love and goodwill towards, your fellow Israelites, right? Now, I have precepts lined up with Lord willing it edifies. This is Matthew 22, and this is how you know that in our kingdom, we ain't gonna allow no Israelite to be suffering and all jacked up and through. Like you look at Esau's kingdom, you have Edomites that are through. They ain't got shit. They jacked up. And why is that? That's because Esau doesn't take care of his people. He doesn't show charity towards his fellow neighbor. But we will whenever we establish our kingdom. That's why every Israelite is going to be good, because we're going to, of course, have the new bodies. We're going to be changed. But even the way we do things, the way our culture is, we take care of each other. You see, so no Israelite is ever going to be in a jacked up situation. You see? Now let's go into it. This is Matthew 22 and verse 37. This is when the Pharisees were trying to catch Yahweh Shai going off, and they were trying to trip him up in his words. This is Matthew 22 and 37. Yahweh Shai said unto him, Thou shalt love Yahweh Bashem Shai thy power with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. You see? So that's the first one. It says, this is the first and great commandment, right? And how do you do that? You love Yahweh Bashem Shai by doing what he said, man. It says, if you love me, keep my commands, do what I said. You see, and you will just worship and bow down unto him. You fear him. Verse 39, it says, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. And when it goes to neighbor, that means like of the fellow or same sheepfold, right? Matter of fact, I'll just get it real quick. Let's go into it. What was that? Matthew 22. Let's get that neighbor real fast if it's going to trip out on me. All right, let's see. Matthew 22. And let's see. Here we go. Neighbor. All right, let's see what neighbor is in the Greek. I know in the when you go into the Old Testament, it goes into it. Yep, here we go. B, looks like it's it right here. It says, any other person where two are concerned, the other thy fellow man, according to the Judeans, any member of the Hebrew nation in commonwealth. So the fellow Israelite, right? When you go into that word, and this word is, by the way, is plesion, Strong G 4139. When you go into that in the the Old Testament, the word for it, it'll say of the same fold. You see, which ultimately just your fellow Israelite. And really, when you go deeper, the fellow Israelite in the belief in the faith. You see, because if somebody else is not dealing with it's an unbeliever, then you can't keep the laws of somebody that's an unbeliever. And by that I mean, you can't go to counsel with somebody, and they ain't even in, what I'm saying, ain't in the truth to even understand none of that stuff. So it's like, in order for you to deal with a lot of the law, statutes, and commandments, it has to be a fellow believer. You see, somebody else that understands as well, believes as well. But I want to get this right here. This is Romans 13 and verse 8. Owe no man anything, but love one another. For he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. You see, and that's how you play it out, by how you deal, how you live your life. And one of the biggest things in living our life is how we treating the fellow believers. Verse 9, it says, for this thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not covet. If there be any other commandment, it is briefly comprehended in this saying, namely, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. So this verse explains what that means. When you keep the law, statutes, and commandments, that's showing love towards your neighbor, because you're having so much reverence and respect for him that you're not going to do any of these sins against him. You see, you're treating him as you would treat yourself or want to be treated. Verse 10, it says, love working no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is a fulfillment of the law. See, and that's what it's going into right here. All right, let's go into the next one. Let's go into some examples that show how that's in the law. You see, this is one right here. This is Exodus 21 and 2. If thou buy a Hebrew servant, 6 years shall he serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing, right? You will let him go. And a lot of times what will happen is, which I have an example of that, whenever a man established his time or he worked his time out, you will give him an inheritance. So our people, we would help our people come up on a level. Let's say if he was poor, he didn't have nothing, he'll be able to be taken in as a servant unto you. And then after about 7 years, you build him up. You'll break him off something, and he's free. Now that man he can deal now. He's on a level to where he can be good. You see, and that's what our people did. We had a culture of helping each other out. Helping each other win. You see, and that's why Esau did try so hard to keep us separated and everything. Because when we come together in the sake of the ministry and the sake of Yahweh Bashim Shai righteousness, there's no stopping us, man. Right? It was no stopping the house of David until the Lord had it set up where it was a designated time for King Solomon to go off. You see? But now let's get this right here. This is an example of that right here. Because King David, he was a servant unto Laban, and he did it for 7 years in order to get Rachel. But instead, Laban gave him Leah first. And then he worked another 7 years to get Rachel, right? So now let's go ahead and we got the context. Now let's go and read the point. I'm getting to the point on this one. Genesis 30 and 25. And it came to pass when Rachel had borne Joseph that Jacob said unto Laban, send me away that I might go into mine own place, into mine own country. Because he was staying with Laban as a servant unto him. Helping him with his with the sheep and everything. Help ministering unto him and everything. He was working for him. Right? And he earned 2 of his daughters. But what does it say? Verse 26 says, give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served thee, and let me go, for thou knowest my service which I have done thee. Right? Now, what did Laban do? It says, Laban said unto him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thine eyes, tarry. For I have learned by experience that Yahweh Bashim Shai have blessed me for thy sake. And he was basically, he's basically wanting them to kind of, he wanted them to stay because he was so good. But it says, verse 28, and he said, appoint me thy wages, and I will give it. Right? And it said, he said unto him, thou knowest how I have served thee, and I know thy cattle was with me. For it was little when thou hadst before I came, and now it is increased into a multitude. And Yahweh Bashim Shai have blessed thee since my coming, and now shall I provide for mine own house also. And he said, what shall I give thee? And Jacob said, thou shalt give me anything if thou wilt do this thing for me, and I will again feed and keep thy flock. Right? And then eventually, when you go all the way down, I thought that was the point. Let's see. Here we go. Let me jump down. It says, this is jumping down to the point because it basically goes to all the whole story of it. But I want to get straight to the point. This is Genesis 30 and 34. And Laban said, behold, I would it might be according to thy word. And he removed that day goats that were in the ringstead and spotted, and all the she goats that were speckled and spotted, and everyone that had some white in it, and all the brown among the sheep, and he gave them into the hand of his sons. And he set 3 days' journey betwixt him and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. And eventually goes to how he basically gave him part of the flock. He broke him off some stuff pretty much. You know, a lot of stories of Genesis are pretty long, but that shows an example, you know, of being charitable. Laban ultimately ended up giving Jacob, you know, certain substance for him to be able to leave. You see, so that's an example of that. He worked for Laban, and then Laban broke him off something and let him go. You see. And I believe he was near the area as well. You know, but this is next one. This is Leviticus 23 in verse 22. And it says, and when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not make clean the riddance of the corners of thy field when thou reapest. You know, it's talking about like when you get your harvest from your your agriculture, your fruit, your vegetables and everything. It's speaking about leaving some for the poor. It says, here we go. Thou shalt not make clean the riddance of the corners of thy field when thou reapest. Neither shalt thou gather any gleanings of your harvest, like the leftover stuff that fall off. It says, thou shalt leave them unto the poor and to the stranger. I am Yahweh Bashem Shall Thy Power. Right? So it's talking about us leaving a lot of our agriculture so, you know, a poor can have something to eat. You know, they traveling on through there, and then it's still on the ground, and they can pick it up and eat it. So this is just showing examples of us taking care of ourselves. And this is in the law. This was laws that we were supposed to keep. This Deuteronomy 15 and verse 7. It says, if there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren within any of the gates in the land which Yahweh shall thy power giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thy heart, nor shut thine hand from thy poor brother. It means help him out. Verse 8, thou shalt open thine hand wide unto him, and thou shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need in that which he wanted. You see, so, you know, you help a brother out to the best way you can. Verse 9, it says, beware that there be not a thought in thy wicked heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release, is at hand. Thine eye be evil towards thy brother, poor brother, and thou givest him not. And he cry unto Yahweh Bashem Shai against thee, and it be sent unto thee. And that's talking about, you know, if you your brother on his last year, like, damn, I give him some, I lend him something, and then he don't pay me back and all that stuff, being in that kind of spirit, man. You see, you just that takes away the charity. You doing it as like it's no longer charity at that point. This is verse 10. It says, thou shalt surely give him, and thine heart shall not be grieved when thou givest unto him, because that for this thing Yahweh shall thy power shall bless thee in all thy works, and in all that thou puttest thy hand into. For the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thine hand wide unto the poor, and to thy brother, and to the needy in thy land, in thy land. You see, so, oh, and this is another one. This goes into more detail of that Exodus right here. Right, it says verse 15, and that shows you, you know, you help your brother out. This is Deuteronomy 15 and 12 now. It says, and if thy brother or an Hebrew man or an Hebrew woman be sold unto thee and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. And when thou sendest him out, flee from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. Right? Thou shalt furnish him liberally out of thy flock and out of thy floor and out of thy winepress, and of that wherewith Yahweh Bashem shall thy power hath blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him. You see? So you're supposed to give whenever you release your servant. And this helped Israelites come up on a level. You see, if Jake was in a messed up situation, you can help him come up on a level this way. So the Lord set it up where the laws help us take care of each other. You see? Now let's get this last one right here. This is an example of King David doing that. This is 2 Samuel chapter 9 and verse 3, and this is when King David was inquiring about Saul's house, and he found that Jonathan had a son left. right? And this is what King David did for Jonathan's son, who was, he's lame, right? This is 2 Samuel 9:3. And the king said, "Is there not yet any out of the house of Saul, that I might show thy kindness of Yahweh shine to him?" And Zabai said unto the king, "Jonathan hath yet a son, which is lame on his feet." And the king said unto him, "Where is he?" And Zabai said unto the king, "Behold, he's in the house of Machir, the son of Amiel, in Lodebar." And then King David sent and fetched him out of the house of Machir and the son of Amiel from Lodebar. Right, and it says, "Now when Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, was come unto David, he fell on his face and did reverence. And David said unto Mephibosheth, he answered, Behold thy servant. And David said unto him, Fear not, for I will surely show kindness unto thee for Jonathan thy father's sake, and will restore thee in all the land of Saul thy father, and thou shalt eat bread at my table continually." You see, so in the house of Saul was doing David wrong, man. A lot of the men in the house of Saul. You had some that followed King David and helped him out, but a lot of them, they were coming against him. But yet he still, took care of his fellow Israelite, especially considering how close him and Jonathan were. You see? So King David even showed an example of great charity right here in this chapter. Right? So that's what our law promotes, being charitable. You see? But anyways, Lord willing, this was edifying. I like to end it all by saying, Call Allah Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rakak Radash, Deb honors the apostle elders, great millstone, room teach well. Till next time, Kwame Shalom.